We've got some more interviews for you now, so you can get your questions in to the people we're going to be speaking to very shortly. We've got a couple of people from BAE Systems who've got a lot of really important information and insight to impart. But first, because BAE Systems are one of our sponsors, here is a little video that just tells you a bit more about who they are and the kinds of stuff they do.
For over 100 years, BAE Systems has been at the cutting edge of aerospace design, manufacturing and production. That means that for over 100 years, we've been agile and adaptable, always thinking outside the box, overcoming anything that's thrown at us. And in the process, we've built a history of knowledge we're truly proud of. That is part of our DNA. DNA that has been passed down from generation to generation and has gone global. That's why we've invested £15.6 million in our Academy for Skills and Knowledge. Based in Samlesbury, this world-class innovative centre will empower outstanding learning and autonomous thinking, because investment in our people is crucial. The world is constantly changing, and the changes we see drive us to outdo what we've done before, to stay 2 steps ahead, time and time again. But there is always room for improvement, because lifelong learning is also part of our DNA and the key to our success. The Samlesbury Centre will immerse learners in real-time virtual environments and provide the technology and resources that we truly need to take us into the future. It will enable us to share our expertise and to shatter the boundaries of our imagination beyond anything we've ever thought possible, for generations to come, because the best is yet to come.
There we go. Thanks so much to those guys. Okay, we have now got for you another live interview. So throughout this, just make sure you're getting your questions in on the web chat, and I will do my best to put them to the people we're going to be speaking to. And those people are, first up, Khadija Ismail, who's an engineering degree apprentice, one of the first 2 apprentices to be awarded, and I'm saying this when you can see me, so don't blush too much, to be awarded the Royal Academy of Engineering Leaders Scholarships. An amazing achievement. And Khadija plans to use her scholarship to expand her engineering experience and focus on water resource and sustainability. You're nodding. I've got that all right.
Yeah, all good.
Okay, amazing, amazing. Well, thanks so much, Khadija, for coming to speak to us. I guess first things first, tell us a bit about your background and what made you choose an apprenticeship instead of going to university.
Okay, so hi everybody, my name's Khadija. I'm 22 years old, I'm from Bolton, and I remember a defining moment in my career was when I was the only girl in my electronics class, and I thought to myself, God, really love to study engineering, but I'm not sure I can afford university. So I started looking at apprenticeships, and BAE Systems came up first, and I thought, wow, amazing. And another defining moment was getting the Arkwright Engineering Scholarship, and that was sponsored by the RAF. So for me, I'd had that experience of the engineering environment, and I thought, oh, I'd really love to be in industry straight away. 5 years worth of engineering experience, earning while I'm learning, and it was kind of a no-brainer for me, really.
Amazing. And what was it about BAE Systems that made you choose an apprenticeship with those guys?
So number 1 for me was cutting edge technology, so being at the forefront of technology that's shaping the future, influencing lives, and I just thought, yeah, this is it, this is what I want to be working on. And for me, it was all about technology and research and just, like cutting edge, just working on things that are just amazing, and you just feel that awe inside, like, wow, I played a part in that.
Yeah.
For me, that's what it was.
Definitely. And so you mentioned that when you were at school and you were interested in electronics and all that kind of stuff, what was it that made you interested in those things in the first place? Was it just a feeling you couldn't put your finger on, or was there something specific that sparked that interest, to excuse the pun in electronics?
I don't know if it's something specific, but for me, I really loved little circuits and breadboards and making things light up and just things like that. For me, it started off with making an LED light up. It was connecting a battery to an LED and thinking, wow. And then finding out there were different types of LEDs. And then, you know, when you just get stuck and you just go through and through and you find all these interesting things. For me, that's how it started. Circuit boards and chips.
Well, that's a great journey to start from just making one LED light up to then working on the scale of the stuff you're working on now. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So what is your average day? You know, what is the kind of typical day in the life of an apprentice at BAE Systems? I mean, I get that at the moment it's probably slightly different, what with one thing and another. Yeah. But what's it normally like for you?
So I'll give you the best version, which is actually being on site. So I work at BAE Systems Wharton when I'm not working from home, and so we'll drive on site, and then it's a massive site as well. So you could be, if you had one meeting, it probably take you 10 minutes to walk from one building to another if you had a meeting. Yeah. So for me, it always starts with speaking to my team in the morning. It's getting a brew, speaking to my team, kind of, this is the stuff we've got on for the day. This is my priority for the day. Going through all of that. But then also I'm at university as well. So I've also got my assignments, my uni assignments to deliver for as well. So I like to have part of my day to just, focus on my university and also personal development. So, speaking to people, having meetings, sometimes it's really nerve-wracking, just as an apprentice, speaking in a meeting, it's a big deal. And so working on those sorts of things as well. Sometimes it'll be writing documents. Sometimes somebody will want to show you something, but they'll say, oh, you know what? I can't explain it to you. Let's just go to the hangar and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And those sorts of things are the best part of my day, is being able to see it in real time.
Yeah, amazing.
And then also, it's awesome. And then part of my day, it's not that it's a part of my day, but sometimes you'll hear aircraft flying and you'll just feel that, I played a part in that. It's just awesome.
So what else do you get in the way of support from BAE Systems for helping you achieve those career goals?
So as an apprentice, the BAE Systems are very, very supportive of their apprentices. So for me, I like to talk about personal development with my team, with my managers, with my apprentice placement managers, and talking about kind of what I would like to do, where I'd like to be, what are the steps needed for me to get to that point. And so sometimes courses will be recommended for me. So for example, there's a course that I went on recently that was funded by BAE Systems. It's called The Theory of Inventive Problem Solving. And it's sort of like a streamline to your creativity. So sometimes when you are trying to problem solve, you'll get lost and you'll go off on tangents and things like that. And that's what happens to me. So for me, it was a course about streamlining my creativity, following it through all the way. And those are the sorts of courses that BAE Systems will fund for you and support for you as apprentices. So for me, I've had those sorts of opportunities. I've had external placements. So last year I moved down south. I was one of two apprentices and two graduates. We moved down south last year to an external company as well. So they are very, very supportive of apprentices if you wanted to apply.
And this year, you were named one of the first two apprentices to be awarded the Royal Academy of Engineers Leaders Scholarships. What exactly is that programme? What does it involve?
Okay, so 2020, that was my highlight of 2020, being awarded this scholarship. So Grace Handley, another apprentice, and we were the first ever apprentices to have been awarded this scholarship in the history of the scholarship being introduced. So for us, that was a really, really big deal. And so what it means is that we both get £5,000 each funded towards our personal development. That's number one. And number two, we have access to like-minded people like us. So people spread across the country that are passionate about engineering. And so number one, what would I spend my money on? So at the moment, I'm thinking next year, there's a company called the Green Programme, and they're all about sustainability and, just empowering people like me, people that are starting off in their careers. And so I'd like to study abroad next year. I'm hoping to go to Nepal. It was Peru, but I've changed it to Nepal now. And So it's all going to be about water resource management and solar power installation, renewable energy, sustainability. And then I'd love to bring that back. So, you know, learning all about sustainability and then bringing that back is something that I'd like to spend some money on. There's a couple of conferences as well. So, you know, like personal development conferences, women in tech. I'd really love to open my network, and those are the sorts of things that I'd be spending the scholarship money on. And lastly, like a national schools roadshow. So if you're really passionate about creativity with technology, so I love poetry, and I'd really love to incorporate poetry into engineering. It's a bit of a niche.
No, that sounds amazing.
Topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so inspiring the future generation of engineers through poetry, because I've often found, like, with the people that I've met through my career and at school, you'd find that people who love poetry don't necessarily love engineering. And so, you know, crossing that boundary, because creativity is also creative writing. So combining that with technology would be awesome. So I'd love to do something like that as well.
Fantastic. Well, look, we stay watching the stream for the rest of the day then, because we've got a poet coming up later on who's going to be doing a session.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be well worth watching. We've been getting some questions in already, Khadija, from people at home. Well, they've said one question: do you get to travel with your job? But it sounds like that's very much the plan, right?
Yeah. So being part of BAE Systems, I am one of 85,800 people spread across 40 countries. So cultural fit is really important as well. So if you are a person that, you know, if you want to be around people that you feel get you, you can find that in one of those 40 countries. And traveling, so in my career so far, so I started in 2017. I've been to Chicago, I've been to Spain, I've traveled to RAF sites. And I hope it doesn't stop there. Like, I'd love to travel more. I'd love to work abroad at some point. So travel is definitely on the cards if you were to take an apprenticeship with BAE Systems.
Well, hopefully you'll be in Nepal next year as well. So we've got another question in. Are the projects you get to work on varied, or are they quite restricted?
So they are very varied. So just to give you a couple of examples, you know, one of my first placements was working on mission systems. Another placement was working on virtual reality and, you know, opening up the user to a completely different experience. You know how people go to expos and they go to, you know, for example, NEC Birmingham, for example.
Yeah.
Looking at virtual expos, so people, you know, working from home, people can actually explore an expo from home. I've done things like last year, so working at Prismatic, working on satellites, drone satellites, so definitely very varied. But I'd say that when you're in the company, you know, source those placements. So, you know, if you find something that sounds amazing, go and speak to the right people, try and find that for yourself. So that's a definitely important part of it. Yeah.
Well, we should speak to you about the virtual expos, because that's, you know, expos is a big part of what World Skills does. So finally, what advice would you give to young people watching today who are just starting out on their career journey? What should they be aiming for, and what should they be aware of?
Okay, so for me, if I was to tell myself the advice that I would want to share with you guys, it would be number one, to dream big. So I know that sounds really, really cliche, but you know, dreaming big and not limiting your thinking, not limiting your constraints, you can really, really change the world by dreaming big, you know. And you've got to find your people. So find your support network, find your people that will make your vision and turn your vision into a reality, people that believe in you. Once you found that network, you know, I can guarantee you will probably be one of the people transforming the world one day. And number two, have a good support network. So, you know, in your career, you know, there will be highs and there will be lows. And having those people, you know, to fall back on sometimes, you know, to have a support is really, really important for you to come back stronger and come back more resilient.
Brilliant. Well, look, thanks so much for talking to us, Khadija. Don't go anywhere, because there are more questions coming in for you. But I'm going to speak to Mark Donnelly now, so we'll get you back on after I've spoken to Mark. But I've got Mark Donnelly here, who's the Head of Apprenticeship and Skills at BAE Systems. Hello again, Mark.
Hello, Will. Hope you're well.
Yeah, you good? I saw you a couple of days ago. You still got your guitars behind you. That's good to see.
I do indeed, yeah.
We should get you on again to do a performance. That would be a nice way to close out the
they're
whole.
just good to keep my camera angle perfect.
Right,
The two
yeah.
guitars there. There
Oh,
we go.
that's quite clever, isn't it? Like a cricketer choosing the stumps. Okay, so so Mark, BAE Systems, one of the world's biggest companies that specialises in aerospace, defence, and engineering. So, what are the opportunities that you have got across the board for young people to get involved in?
Thanks, Will. So we've got some fantastic opportunities for young people. I mean, if I think about the UK, we have 34,000 staff in the UK, and 2,000 of those are apprentices, and over 90% of that 2,000 are aged 16 to 24. So already huge commitment to apprenticeships. And then when you look at the actual apprenticeships that are available, they are from advanced level, also through to degree level. Fantastic role model in Khadija, as you've seen today.
Yeah.
And they cover not just engineering, but also IT, finance, software, business administration. There's a whole array of portfolio, project management, and really a variety. So in total, about 50 standards that we offer. And so lots of opportunities for young people to get involved in. Also, when you think about on the video, you saw some fantastic opportunities in the air sector, but we also have huge activity across the north, south, east, west, because we've got different centres across the UK, and we build and maintain clearly the fast jet aircraft for the Royal Air Force, but we also build and maintain the naval ships for the Royal Navy, and also submarines for our Ministry of Defence. So, as well as defending our country from cyber attack as well. So, across land, air, sea, and cyber, there's so much to get involved in, and it's brilliant to share as industry sponsor today for the World Skills, all of those insights, and have role models like Khadija.
Yeah, great. I mean, we've heard a lot about kind of the engineering opportunities with BAE Systems, but that's not all you offer, is it? There are things outside of engineering when it comes to apprenticeships with you.
Yes, there are. I mean, there's a whole variety of different activities. Probably when you look at it, say 60% of the roles are focused on a whole variety of different types of activities that help to support our engineering community. So it's one big team, but there's so many different elements that make up that work. So that's why we have grown over the last 5 to 10 years from having a few different frameworks, as they were. Now they're called standards, and still frameworks in Scotland and Wales, but a few different apprenticeships to now having 50, and they are literally a fantastic sort of array of different things that people can get involved in.
Yeah, great. And BAE Systems has won awards for your apprenticeship schemes. What is it that sets BAE Systems apart in terms of the opportunities that you offer, or how you support your apprentices?
So, I mean, as recent as Thursday last week, we were delighted to receive the Macro Employer of the Year for the National Apprenticeship Awards, and that's a testament to all of the training team and the support. So, in terms of our pastoral care, that is absolutely at the top of the top of the tree in terms of the focus that we give, the safeguarding we offer. It's the technology that people can get to work on, as you heard from Khadija. I mean, our apprentices work on some of the most complex, most advanced new technologies on the planet, and that is really exciting to get involved in. But we also have a core focus around the support during the apprenticeship and the enrichment that we offer. So lots of things like community engagement, outward bound experiences, getting involved in competitions like World Skills here today. And then, of course, it's a really challenging time at the moment, and we have maintained all of our thousands of apprentices in learning during this challenging time. And we've been able to onboard just under 800 apprentices for this particular year's recruitment. And we've also announced, due to announce a record number of apprentices for next year, over 800. So we're moving on, and we're thinking and creating innovative ways to make sure people still join our company and get the support that they need.
Yeah. Well, look, one of the things that people have been asking a lot at home is, what skills do you need to bring to the apprenticeship? What skills do people need to have, already in their locker? What are you looking for?
It's a really good question. So I think first and foremost, we want people to come with a willingness to learn and have that open mindset and to bring their own thoughts, creativity, and ideas. Communication skills are really helpful. Team working, that problem solving and analytical angle is really important too. So just taking a challenge, an issue, breaking it down, and thinking about how you can resolve and support that. Above all, I think it's the right behaviours, Will. So if people have the right behaviours, they're able to, come with the right sort of approach to learn, and we can help, teach and train and bring all of those extra additional resources and knowledge and skills, but bring the right set of behaviours, and that's a very good start.
Great. Now, we've got a few questions coming in from people in the audience, so I'm going to bring Khadija back onto the screen as well. Through it's not touch screen, but she's going to appear in just a second. But one of the questions for you, Mark, Kathleen wants to know. You mentioned at the start that you work on the fast jets and stuff, but what specifically, what aircraft can you work on if you're with BAE Systems specifically? And maybe Khadija's already worked on some of these.
Yes. So in terms of when you first start at BAE Systems within the air sector, as Khadija will recognise as well, you have opportunity to learn in the academy, and we have got a Hawk jet there, which is a fantastic jet to work on to actually get a real understanding of the basics. But then as you move into the workplace environment, clearly we are building and maintaining Typhoon jet for the Royal Air Force rather, and so there's opportunities to really get involved and to work in there. So the cutting edge of those, but actually important to note as well, we are working on the future of combat air. So we're looking at the Team Tempest project at this point in time, and so that is the opportunity to work on the 6th generation of stealth jet for the Royal Air Force. So not just current activities, but also the future as well, which is really helpful.
Wow, that sounds top secret. What's it called? Team Tempest? Is that going to be the? I mean, it sounds cool.
That's the concept to try to design what would the new generation of stealth jet look like around 2035 for the Royal Air Force. So we start now thinking about that and work with other partners to help to support the Royal Air Force.
Wow, that's very cool. Is that something you might be involved in, Khadija, as well, down the line, do you think?
Fingers crossed, I hope so. So one of the things that I'm working on is maintenance. So that's towards the end of the aircraft life cycle. So it's about, when the aircraft gets to the stage where it's at the customer, how do we maintain that aircraft? How do we equip the people and those customers with the right skills? So that's a really important part, is supporting the aircraft as well.
I love it though. I keep coming back to it, but from making an LED light up to working on top secret, stealth fighter jets, it's incredible. So Khadija, we've got a question from Joe. What's been your best day at work so far?
Oh gosh, that's a really, really good question. So one of the best days of work for me was, it would be more towards engineering, but I think it's more about the people. It's about the days where I'm helping apprentices expand their knowledge and their skill set, knowing that the doors that were open for me, the people that have taught me things, in my first year, my second year, in my third year, and being able to share that with other apprentices, I don't think there's anything more fulfilling. So it's passing on the engineering knowledge for me are the best days at BAE for sure.
Great. Mark, I've got a question from Sam. You covered it briefly earlier, but in terms of being more specific around the other apprentice roles that BAE offers, I mean, do you have apprenticeships in HR, in finance, in those sorts of areas?
Yes, we do. Yeah. So the best approach, and we'll signpost it later, but also is our website. So the basystems.com/apprentices, and that has all of our apprenticeship opportunities. And so you're quite right, Will, and to the questioner, lots of different opportunities there in IT, HR, finance, software, you name it, procurement, and they all help to actually give us that well-rounded organisation that we need.
Khadija, you mentioned that you're studying at university simultaneously. Did you get to choose? This is a question from Jude. Hi, Jude. Can you choose what university you go to? Was that your decision, or did BAE decide?
Jude, good question. So that wasn't actually my decision, but when you are applying for the apprenticeships, you will see what university you're partnered with. So for me, I'm partnered with Lancaster University. So my aerospace engineering degree is accredited, fully accredited, and it comes from Lancaster University. But if you'll find that on the employee's website, it will tell you what university you're partnered with.
Okay, amazing, amazing. I mean, Mark, this is one, I guess, more for you, but a lot of people will be, aware of how difficult this year has been. Has that affected your intake of apprentices? Are you having to change the way you're doing it? Are you bringing on less apprentices next year? Have there been any changes because of COVID?
It's a really good question. Delighted to say that hasn't changed our intake numbers. What has happened has been we have effectively had to think of how we onboard people and bring people into the organisation differently. So typically we'd have things like assessment centres, physical interviews. We've had to think of those differently this time around. So we've done lots of virtual interviews in that process. And that's helped us with this year's intake. And then next year, we've got, as I mentioned, sort of over 800 roles across the 50 different standards, different types of levels, advanced and degree apprenticeships. We're pushing ahead with that. And the reason why we're doing it is because our business plan, our requirements for our business say that we need X number of early careers, young people, adults into the organisation. So we don't want to not deliver that, because we need to meet our customers' requirements and we need to deliver as a business. So we've pushed on and we've managed to do that. And I think that's, one testament to the team, but also a reason why we've won the awards as well, because we have been able to move forward against the adversity that we've experienced.
I've got a question in from Ad, who's watching at home, who wants to know, is it a good idea to leave school at year 11 and go straight into an apprenticeship? Is that a good path to take? Because Ad's confused about whether to go to sixth form college, whether to go to uni, or whether to dive straight into an apprenticeship. So that's a question for both of you, I guess.
It's a good question. I think just from my perspective, it's worth having a look at the different apprenticeships that are on offer. So typically someone who leaves after completing their GCSEs, as an example, they could join an advanced apprenticeship programme with us. If you leave after school sixth form, then you could join perhaps still an advanced, but possibly also a degree apprenticeship with us as well. So it's looking at where you are within your own learning and what really excites you in terms of the topics and the opportunities available through ourselves and other partners in the sector as well. But I know it's a big decision, but yeah, perhaps talk to teachers and career advisors to help you as well in that process. But absolutely opportunities at both just finishing GCSEs, but also post that from A-levels as well.
Khadija, you mentioned that you sometimes work with other apprentices who are coming through. Have you worked with apprentices who've come through at that level, straight after year 11?
So, yeah, definitely. So we've worked with apprentices that have come through at 16 years old, and apprentices that have come through at 18 years old, and also apprentices that have applied after they've even got their degrees and come back as well. So, it's not just about young, being a young person in your career. You can also apply after you've had a degree. If somebody had a degree in pharmacy and came back and did engineering, I'd say it's up to you personally. So, do you want to go to college and do you want to study BTEC level or A level, or do you want to start working at 16 straight away and experience the industry? It's up to you. You can do both. So I know that apprentices at 16 that have joined have decided, you know what, I think I want a degree now, and then sort of funded and applied for business cases to get a degree through the company. So it's very, very, you can mould it to what you want. It's about you and what you want to make it. So join at 16 if you feel like you wish that, or you can join at 18. For me personally, I joined at 18, so I went to sixth form and studied maths, physics and electronics, and then joined at 18. I think that was more because I didn't know that apprenticeships existed at 16, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, one final very quick question, Mark. Amy wants to know, what time of year do you take on apprentices? A good practical question to finish on.
Really important question. So our typical recruitment process is that we open our applications 1st of November. We close them at the end of February, and therefore September starts the next year. So for us, that's September 21 next year. And I should say as well that of all the apprenticeships that people decide to do, with us as BAE Systems, we've got over a 90% completion rate for the apprenticeship programme, which is far above the average. And that we also, for all those that do complete, we offer a full-time job with our company and effectively a career with our company. We invest in them, so we want to support and maintain their growth going forwards.
Great. Well, look, thank you so much, Khadija. Thank you, Mark. It's been great having you both on. Really inspiring stuff. Good luck with everything, Khadija. I hope it goes really well with your new scholarship as well, and I hope you get out to Nepal.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Take
Bye.
care, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now remember, there is lots more information on those apprentices, on those apprenticeships at baesystems.com, and they've got an About Apprenticeships section dedicated solely to that. So get on there and find out.